morning, Melise.
And good morning to you. It's one of those mornings I see that things may or may not work, but we'll just plod on with the show.
Yeah, I was looking. I think I don't know why my LinkedIn was not started because we broadcast on Facebook, Twitter,
Hmm.
YouTube, LinkedIn all at once. Anyways, I just added it now. Hopefully, people can see. How are you today? Like it's the start of this week is like crazy. Oh my gosh! Like I've been already involved in a cyber crime.
I know.
I sent like it's a reminder to everybody to be very cautious when you receive whatever in email. I'm not the victim, thank God, but I did send an e-transfer to somebody and apparently it was deposited in the wrong place. So not sure. I got to call the cops after we're done here. That's going to be my morning.
It's going to be an interesting morning. Yeah,
Yeah.
and my internet seems to be freezing every now and then. So if I become like robotic, my mouth moves, no sound comes out, just ignore me. I'm not going to go away, but just ignore me.
Yeah. What a
Yeah.
beautiful weekend we've had.
Oh
Oh
my
my God.
God.
It felt like it was like early June. It
It
was
did.
it was so gorgeous and I spent a lot of time outside and I saw that you were gallivanting as well.
Well, I did do a bit of gallivanting Saturday. I love the word out and about with my Lisa and Mumsy. My mother doesn't like it. She hates that word Mumsy, but when I go out with my mother, I think it's so cute. Anyway, my mom and I went to the quilt exhibition that was on this weekend, the Quilts on the Seaway 2023, and it was hosted by the Cornwall Quilters Guild at St. John's Presbyterian Church. Oh my God, Julia. Works of art. This is actually my old neighbor Frank Crosby, and this is one of the quilts she has on the show.
Uh-huh.
A Christmas quilt,
Oh
of course.
wow. Yeah, that's one's
but,
for you.
but yeah, she was explaining quilting, how they do it, and just so many different designs and
It's
art.
art.
It is a form of art. I was amazed. Even quilting coats. Here's and
Oh yeah.
upstairs, I just love the way they presented them. Upstairs on the church pews, there was
Mhm.
hundreds and hundreds of quilts.
It's
It
awesome.
was it was beautiful.
It
And
looks awesome.
so many different styles and ways of doing it. And then they had a bed turning display, and I'm like, bed turning? What is this? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
look at
what is
that
it?
one. Well, keep going. There's some pictures at the end.
I don't want to spend too much
Go
time,
real
but
Go quick, quick, quick. It's at the end. What they did was they had a bed and they had
oh,
here we go. They had 12 quilts on this bed, and these two ladies kept turning the quilts over, and the lady on the back podium had a story about each quilt. It
oh
was
wow.
really, really interesting. There was a history to each one. It was such an amazing event. They had the old-fashioned tea room, and
Yeah.
I don't know, it was such a nice afternoon event.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so if another show comes up, guys, go and see it. It's well worth it. It was really, really nice.
Awesome. Well, I just I want to play a little clip today because we've had such a rough start of the day. I want to
Mhm.
show you this video that I fell onto over the weekend. This guy, totally awesome guy from he is from Texas, down in Texas. He's a weatherman, and what he does is he gets requests from people to
Okay.
inject um song lyrics into his weather forecast.
Oh
And
my.
so this one was Bohemian Rhapsody,
Okay.
and I totally need you tell me if you hear this sound, okay? Cuz you need sound for this, but
Of
this
course.
is what he came up with for Bohemian Rhapsody. You hear
Clear
sound?
sky in Houston in the morning? Is this the real life? Or is this just fantasy? If you're just waking up and joining us, open your eyes, look up to the skies, and
Oh
see.
my.
This time of year, we still get cold fronts, so the warm air is easy come, easy go. And relative to average, we're a little high, little low. Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me, as long as rain holds off for the weekend. But that doesn't necessarily look like it's going to be the case. I see a little silhouette of a rain cloud out there in the distance over the Gulf. That rain staying offshore, though, this morning. If you have outdoor plans late in the day Saturday, you're thinking thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening. I don't expect any severe weather here, but certainly some downpours. Goodbye, everybody. I've got to go. Got to leave you all behind and face the truth that no wait weather and traffic ends now, but Houston Happens is coming up next.
Oh
Isn't he
my Lord.
cool?
That was amazing. That really brightened my day. That
And
was amazing.
if you go onto his webpage, his name is Adam Kruger. So it's CW39 Adam Kruger. And if you go to his page, he has reels like this every, like, I don't know, I think he does it like every week or maybe even every day. I don't know, but he takes the requests from people. He says,
Yeah.
challenge accepted. And then he'll go and he'll inject all those song lyrics into his weather forecast. And he has a ton of them. Like, all the songs, like he's got Rihanna, he's got like
Wow.
Snoop Dogg, he's got like a whole bunch of them. It's hilarious. It's really fun to watch, and what an original thing. And I'm thinking to tell people to start asking us to ask my Elise to start injecting lyrics into our Monday morning motivation, and we'll do that. That would be kind of cool.
I'm not sure if I could do something like that without bursting out laughing. He's so serious. I'm not
He
sure if I can
is
do it.
like, and it just fits so perfectly. It was great. Anyways, so that was my little smile for today.
Yeah, that was amazing actually, considering the day we started with. So, oh my God. Yeah, I had a beautiful. Did you see my pictures of where my office was this weekend yesterday? I was at the picnic table at the property,
Oh no,
working
I didn't see you.
outside. Oh yeah, it was so nice.
How the
So
bugs out there?
actually, it wasn't too bad. There was some mosquitoes at the end of the afternoon, but they actually are not bad. But my question was, so what did everybody do this beautiful Sunday? Like, what kind of things did you end up doing, everyone? Let's see some comments.
Yeah, let's see some comments. I'm trying to sell my trailer, so I've had a lot of people coming to look at that, and so I'm trying to sell a 2011 good little trailer for a small family. So if you're interested, just get in touch.
Kasika Chick Julia is looking at a car.
Oh my God. Like, I was not like, a new car was not on my radar at
Okay.
all. And then John changed his car. He's been waiting, poor guy. He's been waiting for over a year for his car.
Yep.
He bought a 2023 Hyundai Hybrid
Hmm.
luxury model. It is so beautiful. And so I fell in love with his car, right? And
Hmm.
it's just so happened that I was just browsing. That's how everything happens.
Yeah,
You
it
start
does.
browsing, and then all hell breaks loose. Anyways, I started browsing, and I was on Seaway Hyundai because he bought it at Seaway Hyundai. Hi, Jeff. Best salesman ever. Anyway, so started browsing on the used car because I don't necessarily want like a 2023, but maybe a 2021 or 2022. And I fell on this car who, like, it's the same as John's, exactly the same as John's, except for the leather seats. Like, he has leather seats, this one is cloth,
And it's
and
not hybrid.
it's
Yours,
not hybrid, and
yeah.
it's a little more sporty looking.
Okay.
But oh my God, my Lease, that car is so me, and the color is fiery orange. It's actually called lava orange. It's like between
Orange.
red and orange. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, I fell in love with the color, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna humor myself. Just went
Oh,
to see Jeff.
yeah.
I'm like, what could
Yeah. Yeah,
what can you
you
do
cannot
for me?
you don't just humor yourself. You come out with a car. Yeah.
Anyways, I just fell in love with the car, and I'm
Oh.
trying to make it happen, and I'm gonna like get it on Saturday if everything goes well. It's just beautiful.
Nice,
Love it.
nice. I thought it was kind of like a Seeker reddish kind of thing.
No, it's not. It's not exactly red. It's more like in between red and orange. But I mean,
Orange?
it's not a ugly orange. Like there are.
Mhm.
I'm trying to pull the picture here. It's
Well,
not.
I'm sure on the screen you can't really tell because it looked more red to me, but
Yeah.
in red
Well,
light.
it is kind of reddish, but it's
Mhm.
it's 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 orangey as well. Here it is. Oh no, I can't put that in the stream. Oh, well, I'll find it and I'll show you guys in a minute. But we have guests today.
We do. First of all, we have Jason Pollock, who joins us every third Monday of the month. So
Here's my car. There it is.
oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is reddish
It's reddish, but it's also orange. It's lava. It's like, you know,
lava.
lava. Anyways, okay, so we have Jason Pollock. Hi, Jason.
Good morning. Good morning.
So sorry we bought the car up before we bought you up, Jason. But
I know. How am I supposed to follow that? Like, wow, that's just. And how do I follow that weatherman? Although the weatherman did not do the head banging that is appropriate to Bohemian Rhapsody, so that was
Totally true.
a little disappointing.
Totally true.
I don't, you look like you could do the head banging part with the
Yeah, I
Bohemian
could. I
Rhapsody.
got my little ponytail going
Oh,
here,
there you
so
go.
when I untie that, yeah, it can get pretty
Rowdy.
pretty hardcore. Yeah,
I like that hardcore. I'm into heavy metal, so
yeah.
that's my
As am
kind
I.
of thing. Yeah, that's my kind of music. So, Jason, for those who don't know you, can you just give you a quick intro as to who you are?
Yeah, so I am the manager of mental health promotion and volunteers at the Canadian Mental Health Association Champlain East here in Cornwall, and we serve the 5 counties in Akwesasne. And I am also a registered social worker, and I have a private practice that I see clients in as a therapist.
Okay. And last week we had you on. We were talking about fighting mental health stigma. It was part
Mhm.
1. Today we're going to cover part 2. So if you guys have picked up your Seeker, Jason's got an article in there, and we're going to talk about part 2. Now, before we get into that, though, Jason, what exactly is considered a mental health issue?
Oh boy, wow, that is a broad question. Well, how to define that actually? A mental health issue or a mental health concern is, I guess, in the broadest definition, the opposite of what constitutes mental wellness. And so a lot of people misunderstand mental health concern. They think you need to have something quote unquote big, something that is diagnosable, something that really runs your life off the rails. Like some people think it has to be, bipolar or schizophrenia or something like that. But certainly those are very serious mental health concerns, and it's not to downplay those in any way, shape, or form. But the thing is, there are, and I hate to use the terms big and small, but there are smaller, less severe mental health concerns like depression, like stress and anxiety. And it's not to say that those aren't important, because they are. But all that to say, someone could have a mental health concern like depression and still be able to function in their life quite well. They might be able to parent their children. They might be able to go to their job and perform adequately. But underneath is just this feeling of a lack of pleasure, not being able to get much enjoyment or satisfaction out of life. So basically, a mental health issue or a mental health concern ranges from the sort of mild, depression or just having the blahs, or, seasonal affective disorder, all the way up to very serious concerns that require medication and perhaps institutionalization. So it really runs across that spectrum.
And it's really sad that there's such a stigma, because, like you're right, if you've got an illness like cancer or diabetes, you go to a doctor, get it checked. And mental health illnesses are just that as well. Like they are
Mhm.
illnesses that you can deal with and get checked. But a lot of people, the stigma that comes with them is not the same as if you've got cancer or diabetes. It's not the same
No,
at all.
no, it's not, and I think that's because there is an enduring misunderstanding
Hmm.
about mental health and mental illness. So, for example, if you said to someone, "I have cancer," or "I have diabetes," or "I have lupus," or something like that,
Hmm.
no one would ever say to you that it was your fault. They would
Hmm.
never say to you, at least I would hope not.
Yeah.
They would never say to you, "Oh, you just need to, well, you just need to get out a little more," or something like that. You just need to cheer up. "I'd take a nice bath," or something like that. But this is
Hmm.
what people often say when someone says that they have a mental health issue. So there's this enduring misunderstanding that um, the fault for mental health or mental illness lies on the sufferer.
Hmm.
There is a misconception that someone has a mental health concern because of something they're doing or because of something they're not doing. So the
Exactly.
blame, the blame is put on the sufferer, and so no one would ever, like I said, no one would ever blame a sufferer for their cancer. Like, oh, it's something you did that gave you cancer. But that's
Yeah.
what people do with mental illness.
Yeah, you're right. And like it's totally seen differently than a regular illness. It's kind
Mhm.
of sad because it shouldn't be. So in your article, you're writing about strategies to deal with mental illness, fighting mental illness. Like, so if you are suffering with mental illness, what kind of things can you do?
Well, I should point out I'm not the one that writes the articles. Just I wouldn't want to labor under any
No, you're right.
misunderstanding. But yeah, so sorry. Ask me that question again. Would you mind?
So it says, let me just, so if you're a person who is living with mental illness, there's a number of ways that you can stand up to the stigma. So what kind of
Hmm.
things can you do? Like,
I think one of the most powerful things that you can do is to just be courageous and share your
mhm,
experiences with others. The thing is that, let's say 50 years ago, mental health issues were very much behind closed doors. The stigma was much worse than it is now in the past. And if you had a mental health concern, you were shamed and you felt
mhm,
a lot of shame, and you tried to hide it as much as possible from other people because good people didn't suffer
yeah.
from those things. Now, fortunately, the perception of that is changing. But I think one of the most powerful things you can do is speak openly about your experience. And the reason why I say that is that it gives other people permission to speak about their issues. And the reality is that so many people suffer from mental illness, whether it's depression or anxiety, all the way up to
Mhm.
schizophrenia. So many people, more people than you think, right? And it has happened to me that I have been speaking to a group, and I have mentioned that I personally suffer from depression and anxiety, and that has opened up the conversation. And people have said, "Wow, thank you for sharing that because that gave me permission to speak about it." It really is just a question of being honest about it, and I think you will find that being honest about it, lots of people will resonate with that.
Yeah, it's true because, like, say everybody does suffer with some form. I mean, we all have anxiety, we all get overwhelmed, down,
Sure. Hmm.
but a lot of us can deal with it, and a lot of us need medication.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's it. And the problem is, part of the problem is that there's no set definition of what constitutes mental health or mental illness. Um, because it's not like you are one or the other all the time, forever and ever.
Yep.
Normal people, normal, quote unquote normal, I'll use the term normal people, people who do not consider themselves to suffer from mental illness, still get depressed sometimes. You may not say I have clinical depression, but everybody gets depressed every once in a while. Everybody gets sad, sometimes for
Yep.
very good reasons, sometimes for no apparent reason. You just wake up on the wrong side of the bed and you're like,
Yep.
"Ugh, I feel kind of blah today." I guess what constitutes a mental illness is when these patterns of thoughts or behaviors extend for many weeks or months, and really have a disruptive effect on your lifestyle. That, I guess, is
Yep.
what would constitute a mental illness. But everybody has quote unquote symptoms of mental illness, like sadness or depression or lack of attention span.
Yeah, no, I know. I go through it, stuff like that often too, but I can kind of talk myself out of it. It's when you
Mhm.
can't talk
I
yourself
was
out of
muted.
it.
I was
Oh,
trying to talk and I was muted. I want to interject because Mylise, you said, uh, most of us can deal with it, like, but I want people to understand that it's okay
if you can't.
to not be okay. And it's okay if you can't talk yourself out of a depression or out of a sadness. You're not
Mhm.
less than because you can't do
Mhm.
that. You're
No,
not. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with you for feeling that way. And I think that a lot of the stigma comes from us feeling like we're wrong. We're like everything about us is wrong because we're
Mhm.
feeling like this.
because
when
Yeah.
everybody,
when society
yeah,
is normalizing,
yep,
being happy, as like you're supposed to always be happy, and
yep,
that's not the way it is. It's absolutely normal to go through different emotions. We're emotional beings.
We are emotional
yep,
beings. You're absolutely right, Julia. And the what is the first thing if anybody sheds a tear in front of you? What's the first thing they say? I'm sorry.
yep,
Yeah.
Like, and people say that to me at funerals. No, don't
Don't
be
be
sorry for
sorry, somebody
don't be
died.
sorry for crying. This is a funeral. This is a totally appropriate place and time for
yeah,
you to be emotional. And the thing is that it's always an appropriate place and time to be honest about our emotions. Obviously, there are healthy and productive ways of expressing emotions, and then not so much. But yeah, this is one of the things that makes mental illness so insidious. It's not only from the external, people judging you or being afraid of what people will think. It's also how we judge ourselves.
yep,
Lots of people think, Julia, and you touched on this, that you should just be able to talk yourself out of it. That you should just be able to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and take a bath and with a scented candle, and then all of a sudden everything, you know, people say to themselves, I shouldn't feel like this. So what they
Well,
do
what's the
is
first
they
thing we say to ourselves? Is like, what's wrong with me?
what's
yep.
wrong with me? Yeah,
Smarten
what's
up.
wrong with me? Smarten up, get it together.
Yep.
Absolutely. And these are things probably that our parents told us, and then we tell ourselves, and maybe we tell our kids those things, and the cycle continues. But the reality is, as you said, Julia, we are emotional beings. Our emotions are there for a reason, and they need to find a way out. And a lot of mental health conditions actually come up because we're not adequately processing our emotions, and that's just the
You
residual
repress
effect.
them and repress them, and eventually it just gets the best out of you.
Well, a lot of people continue with, let's say, toxic relationships or toxic jobs
Mhm.
because they think I should be able to handle this, when in reality, maybe it's just that those situations suck and you need to get out of them. Maybe it's just that no one would say to themselves, if they have diabetes, I should be able to fix this.
Yeah.
No one with cancer would say, why do I have cancer? I'm weak. I really need to just figure this out. I shouldn't have cancer. That's not productive. You need medication. You need to
Yep.
be followed by a doctor. You need to follow the appropriately prescribed medical procedures and whatnot in order to get better. And the thing with a lot of mental health illnesses is that they are due to imbalances in neurotransmitters.
Yeah.
So at its basest form, mental health issues are a physical health problem. It's just chemicals in your brain that are not working correctly or not in the right proportion.
It's so sad though when you think back to like many years ago when somebody with mental health issues was just put in an asylum,
Yeah.
and
Or shock
and
treatments.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's really sad how it was dealt with versus how it's dealt with now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is that 50 years from now, the way we treat mental health issues will be seen as barbaric as well. Because the
Yep.
technology and the understanding of it will progress in the future. So, I mean, we're always in the process of changing our mentalities about things and changing our understandings. So I am hopeful that in the future, stigma will continue to be reduced. And part of, just the conversations that we're having today, that's a big part of battling the stigma. We need to talk openly about it. There needs to be dialogue. We need to normalize talking about mental health issues and concerns as much as we normalize talking about medical health concerns.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, Jason, I'm going to put you on the spot. I know we're not talking about this topic this morning, but something happened in the last week for me, and I did not quite know how to handle that situation. But I'm going to ask you how someone should handle that situation. So,
Okay, I'll try to answer.
a friend of mine, sadly lost her son
Mhm.
to an overdose in the
I'm
past
sorry to
week,
hear that.
and um, a couple of days after this happened, I received a message, a Facebook message, and I'm not like too close to this person. Like I speak to her like a little bit here and there. We chat here and there, but nothing really close. Anyways, I got a message from her, and she told me that her son had passed away, and then she proceeded to tell me that she had decided to commit suicide as soon as possible.
Oh
Mhm.
boy.
So, and that person is in Texas, like really far away from me. So
Mhm.
I kind of did not know how to handle. I said what I thought I should say, and I really urged her to go and find some help and call a suicide hotline. But what else can we do?
Well, um, the appropriate response whenever someone says, "I am going to commit suicide as soon as possible," it needs to be taken very seriously, and the authorities need to be alerted
I called the
right
cops,
right away. Okay,
but
okay, that
I had
was absolutely.
limitations because I don't know where she lives. Like I don't have an
Oh
address for her.
my.
I don't have a phone number for her. So
Mhm.
all I have is her Facebook account, and they wouldn't do anything with that.
Well, you would be surprised. The police are quite resourceful, and if you have a person's name, they can usually locate them. I mean, the police have all of us on file. That's just the nature of the system,
Mhm.
and in this situation, it's actually kind of a good thing because the police do have the resources to find her.
Well, that's
Um,
what I'm saying. They did not do anything. I called them. I gave the name. They said they couldn't
mhm.
do anything.
Okay.
Maybe it's different in the States. I called the Houston Police Department because
Okay.
this person was in the States.
Okay.
And they said unless you have a phone number, an address, or something, we can't do anything. Like I'm like, can you
Wow.
Mhm.
not call Facebook or something and get that information?
Well, probably because of privacy laws, no, they couldn't. I know in Canada, and this has happened to me. I have contacted the police because someone was expressing on Facebook what I consider to be a very serious
Threat.
expression of
Yeah.
suicidal thought. And I did not have a phone number. I just had this person's name, but the police located him and located his place of employment, and went to do a wellness check. And the person's
Yes.
not in trouble,
Yeah.
right? It's not
No,
to get
no,
the
it's
person in
just
trouble.
make sure that
They're
they're
not going to jail. It's a wellness check. Hey,
yes.
how's everything going? How can we support you?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I want to
you
report
may
that she's still alive, so that's good,
okay, great.
Okay, good.
and
Um,
she's been processing and posting more, and dealing with her feelings, I think. So I'm pretty sure she's going to be okay, but it was a scary situation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as I said, the appropriate response when someone expresses that they are, have suicide. I guess the thing is that um, here's the reality. Everyone, and I mean everyone, has had suicidal thoughts. You know, everyone has had those ideas come into their mind. Um, there are degrees of severity, if you will. I mean, some people just feel, you know, the world would be a better place if I were no longer in it, but they don't actually feel the need to kill themselves. And other people are really quite, distraught, and they have a plan, and they're gathering materials to follow through on this plan. But all expressions of suicidal ideation need to be taken seriously. They need to be given space. I think most people's automatic reaction when someone in their circles expresses suicidal ideation is to say, no, you have so much to live for.
Mhm.
Right? That's the sort of our knee-jerk reaction. And it comes from a good place. Okay. We're trying to point out to this person, no, you know, you've got lots of reasons not to be depressed. But the thing is, that doesn't acknowledge that this person probably has very real reasons to be depressed. Now, obviously, your friend has a very real reason to be distraught. And you know, what parent would not think the things that she was thinking
Yeah.
under those circumstances? I think most of us would probably just, the pain is too big. The pain
Unbearable.
is too real and unbearable. So what I would say would be an appropriate response as a friend or as a relative is to open up that space and say, okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm here for you. I'm here with you. Tell me about those feelings, you know, and open up the opportunity. There is a course out there called ASSIST, ASIST, and it's Applied Suicide something, something, something. I can't remember the rest of it, unfortunately. But ASSIST is an excellent program. It is a 2-day workshop, costs you about $250 to do, a little less, maybe $230. But we run them. The CMHA doesn't run them ourselves, but we have trainers that we contract out to do these trainings, and we're always running these trainings. But ASSIST is really a fantastic program that leads to more suicide-aware communities, right? To talk about the risks, to talk about how to dialogue with someone who's experiencing those,
Those
you know,
thoughts.
those thoughts or those feelings. But the priority is to make sure that that person is safe, you know, that that person is not going to harm themselves or someone else. And then the second priority is to open up space for those conversations
Validate
to
their
happen.
feelings, you know, not
Absolutely,
say
absolutely.
saying something like you have so much to live for, think about the rest of your family. It's kind of invalidating what
It is.
they're feeling right now. So I
Yeah.
tried to just say, you know, to her, like, listen, I'm here for you if you need me. Like, don't hesitate. If there's anything I can do, reach out. Like, you know,
Mhm.
I'll check up on you here and there. You know, and then I'm sorry for what you're experiencing. Nobody should ever go through something like this. I can't
Mhm.
even imagine the pain that you're going through.
And
I
I
can.
can, and
I can. I
can you?
Yeah,
lost.
you can. And
Well, I lost my son 2 years ago to a massive heart attack at the age of 33. And
Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry, my niece.
this Thursday was a really rough day for me because it was his birthday. He would have been
Mhm.
35, and it was his second heavenly birthday. So I can totally relate to your friend Julia,
yeah,
obviously, because unless you've lost a child, I really don't think anybody understands.
No, and Julia, you said something that I want to highlight. You said, "I can't even imagine how
No,
that
you
feels."
can't.
I avoid ever using the words "I understand
yeah,
how you're feeling."
because you don't.
You know,
Yeah.
because even if you've had similar experiences, you know, you don't understand what one person is going through because they're a totally different person who has different
Exactly.
coping mechanisms, different life experiences. They see the world through a totally different lens, and their experience, although perhaps similar to yours, is not going to be the same. So, I mean, I try to remove or expunge I understand,
Yeah.
you know, but definitely, you know, my Lise, you would get where she's coming from.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know that pain. You
Yeah.
know, absolutely. But yeah, just pointing out that a lot of people who experience mental health problems or suicidal ideation, um, we're very solution focused, right? Our solution, our focus is to get that person feeling better as quickly as possible. And part of that is because we feel uncomfortable with our own, you know, negative feelings. You know, in reality, there's no such thing as a negative or positive feeling. Feelings are feelings, but we assign a value to them. Sadness, ugh, I feel bad, that's negative, I don't want to feel that. Happiness is positive, it's good, I want to feel that. And so at all costs, I'm going to try to bring myself up, you know, from that level. But sadness at the loss of a child, sadness at the loss of a loved one, that's the appropriate response, right? That's what needs to be felt, that's what needs to be expressed. And people always try to say, you know, or suicidal ideation, right? That's what needs to be expressed. People need to be given the space to express that. And Julia, you're absolutely right. If we say, you know, oh, but think about the rest of your family. Oh, you have so much to live for. Oh, you know, if you have a relative who's been sick for a very long time, most people often say, quite well-meaningly, they're in a better place. You know, their suffering is over. But that just totally negates what you're saying. That tells the person I shouldn't be feeling what I'm feeling.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so therefore, I'm just going to stuff it down and I'm going to not feel that as much as possible.
Yeah.
And later on in life, that will manifest itself as mental health disorders, physical health disorders, because what happens in the mind happens to the body. You know, it's, I think the kindest thing and really the best thing to do is open up space and just say, okay, so you're thinking of killing yourself. Tell me about that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for answering my question. I have to bring in my other guest now. Before we do, I just want to mention that there is a barbecue in support of CMHA that is happening on May 5th at 9:30 a.m. And I believe it's in front of the Cornwall Police Service.
Yeah, and it's
held by
actually
the Optimist Club.
It may not be a barbecue at this point, but it will be something involving food and beverages.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds
So
good.
we're just discovering that it's logistically it's a little more difficult to get a barbecue off the ground than we thought. So it's more likely to be, you know,
Something else.
some snacks and some drinks. Yeah.
But something's coming. All right.
Something's coming involving food.
May the 5th.
May
the 5th. Yeah.
So now, Marlise, I'm going to let you introduce our next guest. And Jason, you want to stay or you want to go?
Maybe Jason has to, you know what, Jason, maybe you have some questions for the guest too. So you never know. So our next guest is Angela Parker, and she is the Sustainability Project Coordinator with the City of Cornwall. Hi, Angela. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy that you were able to join us because there's a lot going on.
There is, and I apologize for
this week with Earth Week.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Your background is fine.
I was like, they had to put me in a little room here at the library because the wireless wasn't working, so they put me in this little room.
All right.
So what's going on at the library?
A tree today? Or something on the board.
Shut up. Oh, I didn't even think of it. Oh,
yeah, that would have been good. So there is something going on at the library for Earth Week right now, right?
Yes. Right now, we have our placement student from the college supervising that right now, and we have a children's movie playing for preschoolers, and it's called To the Arctic. About some polar bears in the north. And then this afternoon, so I'm staying here all day today because this afternoon we have another documentary or another film, What Lies Below, at 1 o'clock here at the library as well. And it's a Canadian documentary about the health of our waters and the fishing industry.
Wow. All right. Now, other stuff going on. I'm going to have you talk about it, but I'll kind of prompt you. Cornwall Gives a Shirt. What is that?
Okay, so Cornwall Gives a Shirt it's from the waste management department, but I'll do my best to explain it. So I believe it's been a few years now that they've been doing the Give a Shirt program. And every spring and fall, you have the opportunity to donate clothes. And the purpose of it is to divert from the landfill. So we want as less products going into the landfill. So this year, you don't actually have to go somewhere to donate it. You can take this is this week only, during your garbage pickup days, you can take a bag and put a shirt in it. So give a shirt, or you can put more than one shirt, or you can put, we ask for spring clothes, this time for this season, and then the fall we ask for like winter and fall clothes. So spring and summer clothes right now, and you put them in the bag, put them at your pickup for garbage, put either a paper on it that says I give a shirt or give a shirt, and then staff, I'll be doing it on Wednesday actually for the pickup. We'll be going around in a city vehicle and looking for those bags and picking them up and then donating them to the local charities that have stores with used clothing.
I just
Awesome.
love the marketing for this. Like, it's so clever. Like, remove a letter.
Yeah.
It is so good.
Then, and I see there's a seed bomb workshop. What is
Mhm.
that?
Okay, so the Seed Bomb Workshop, I'm just going to pull up the name of. There's a local organization called Radical Roots, and the woman Kristen, who owns the organization, will be here at the library. So that'll be tomorrow.
April, 18th.
Yeah. So tomorrow, there'll be 2 workshops for this, but I'll explain what the workshop is first. So seed bombs are made from, I'm going to be learning more about it during the workshop, but they're made from soil, I believe worm castings, maybe some clay, and you put like seeds in it, like wildflower seeds, native seeds. And she'll be showing us how to make that and teaching us about the different flowers and plants that will be coming out of these seeds. So we'll be learning about seeds and native plants, and then you take this seed bomb or ball. And I learned about seed bombs when I was doing my master's at Concordia, because I learned about something called guerrilla gardening, where people would make these seed bombs and kind of just toss them out throughout Montreal, and in hopes that wildflowers will grow within the urban setting. But that's not, technically, we're not promoting the guerrilla gardening tomorrow at the seed bomb workshop. You can take your seed bomb home with you and plant it on your property, and then watch the seeds grow into beautiful native plants.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
if you were just throwing it, tossing it, that means that you can just throw it and plants are going to grow?
It should.
Like, you don't need to plant it or anything? It
Should grow from the little
from the
ball.
thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, oh wow.
So you can just actually take it home and put it in a bowl or something, and it will grow.
I believe so. I'm sure Kristen will know more tomorrow, but I plan on making one, and then I have an acre, so just kind of tossing it maybe in the end of the forested area and
see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
What time?
That's my kind of gardening.
Yeah. What time is this happening tomorrow at the library?
Yes, so tomorrow here at the Cornwall Public Library, we have an adult one from 1:30 to 3:30, and then we have a children's one, which is for 7 years and up in the evening from 5:15 to 7:15. But I mean, anybody 7 and up can come. We just have it at night, so if high school students want to come, elementary students want to come, and you can be 3 years old and to 7, but we ask that your parents there to help create the seed bomb with you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like that idea. I might even actually go. We should both go, Julia. We should go check that one out.
Get your hands dirty.
Yeah. Addressing Climate Change with Laura Lynch, April 20th. So what's that one?
Yeah. So yeah, Wednesday I have a little bit of a break, so we don't have any activities. I'll be out picking up the Give Us shirts on Wednesday. So Thursday, we have CBC journalist and podcaster Laura Lynch joining us virtually from British Columbia, where she resides, and she hosts the podcast What on Earth, and I'm a big fan of that podcast. Because my brain doesn't stop working. So even on my days off, I'm listening to climate podcasts. And hers is one I enjoy because they do speak about stuff all over Canada. And so she's going to join us and talk about how organizations and businesses all over Canada are addressing climate change and extreme weather events, and how we can mitigate climate change and how we can adapt to climate change. And that's going to be hosted by Gabe from Your TV. And we'll be doing a Q&A with Laura afterwards, and that will be in the automotive room in the Benson Center. It is limited seating, so we do ask that people register ahead of time. So far so good with that. We're very excited that she'll be joining us and being able to give a big overview of what's happening here in Canada.
Wonderful. Now, the seed ball, is that a free event? The seed?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so most of these things are free
Yes,
events.
yes. We have them all free, except for the one that's I most likely will be talking about next.
The eco printing workshop, is that the one you thought I'd talk about? Yeah.
Yes. So the one on Friday is eco printing workshop. It's going to be at the Klein House, so the art gallery. And it's eco printing on paper with fiber artist Janet Tulloch. And I believe she's local to Prescott Russell area. And we've taken some really cool recycled or reusable paper from Municipal Works and Infrastructure. So like old drafting plans on one side, and the other side will be blank. So we're going to use those papers to have a cool look for the journal. That one is, I believe it was 12 participants for it, and it's $25. So it's not a lot. It's but I believe it might be sold out at this moment, but there is a waiting list.
Okay.
Awesome. Earth Day cleanup, April 21st.
April 21st. So last year we had the Earth Day cleanup the Friday before our Eco Day. So we're going to have it again the Friday before the Eco Day. And it was on Earth Day last year. So this year, Saturday is Earth Day. So we're going to do the cleanup on the Friday. And our goal is to clean up, have Lamoureux Park all spick and span for Eco Day the next day. But we also go along the waterfront as well. We did that last year. And people are welcome to join staff from noon till 1 at Lamoureux Park to do a bit of a cleanup. We will most likely be there all day setting up for getting ready for Eco Day. Or we just encourage people to go out spring when snow melts. It reveals so much carnage, and spring is just not very pretty sometimes. So
my yard was a mess.
Yeah. So you see what was left after the snow melts, and if anybody wants to go out on their lunch hour or during the day on Friday, kind of celebrate Earth Day by helping clean up the planet, whether you be in Cornwall. I'm in Glengarry, so I'm probably going to do stuff on the weekend, which I usually do around Earth Day, and send us photos, and then you can then we'll share those and see how everyone's I think it takes a village, or I don't know the quote, but
a village for sure.
Yeah. But it's something that, if we make a mess, we need to clean it up. So, and I'm pretty sure we all have some little part in the mess that's out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're saying are you in North or South Glengarry?
South Glengarry.
So am I. We're building on Highway 18. And you know what? Yesterday I was driving out there, and what was horrifying me is it looks like people are just throwing their garbage out the window. Like McDonald's cups and stuff just flung out the window. It was awful. Like, why are they even doing that? Why can't they just not take it home? And around where we are, Beaverbrook, there's a landfill. So we
Yes.
took a little ride down Beaverbrook on our property, and somebody has pretty well dumped a whole truckload of old furniture and stuff right on the side of the road. And I'm thinking, why?
Yeah.
Why do people do that? It's horrible. So what do
Yeah.
we do now? Do we have to go and clean their mess up because it's sitting on our property?
Yeah, I know a lot
Unbelievable.
of people blame like bag limits for it and whatnot, but
Unbelievable.
I don't. I think that's an excuse. I, on my own, I go through like a Seaway news bag once a week, and that's myself. So a family of 5, I would say a Seaway bag news for 5, unless you have diapers. But
Mhm.
I don't know why people needed 5 bag limit. I mean, maybe.
I mean, if it's furniture on top of that,
This
just
is furniture.
bring it to Cornwall's recycling place there.
Yes.
They have a whole, place
Why
where you
don't-
can dump
Store.
Yeah.
your furniture that they
Well,
can.
there's a landfill up around our place too, like down Beaverbrook. It
Yeah.
obviously was closed. We're going, why would somebody dump this? Obviously, the landfill was closed, and they just wanted to dump it somewhere.
Oh,
We're
wow.
talking couches, lamps, an end table,
That's so
just
sad.
dumped. It is sad, and it's like that's where
I
all
think
this
it's a little selfish
horrible.
and it's
Yeah.
what's convenient for them.
A lot selfish, actually.
Yeah, very convenient for them and not
Yeah.
for us. But
Yeah.
anyway, no, the cleanup is really necessary, especially in the springtime. There's a lot on the side of the roads. And then the big culmination of all this thing is on
Mhm.
Saturday, the 3rd annual Eco Day in Lamro Park. So what exactly is going to happen there?
Okay, so this is our 3rd annual Eco Day. So very excited that right after I started at this position, sustainability project coordinator, I was like, we need to do something for Earth Day. So my colleague Katie Wells and I, we decided, okay, we'll do an Eco Day. We ended up doing it in August, the first year, because COVID restrictions. And then last year we had it at Lamoureux Park. It was a great success. Over 500 people came for our second one. And so we're doing it again this year, and it's always the Saturday following. Now it's always the Saturday following Earth Day, and Earth Day just happens to be Saturday. And at Lamoureux Park, we're going to have booths of lots of organizations and city departments as well. There's going to be music on the stage. We have Yaffa Arts and Crafts again for the kids to use recycled materials to make art. Their River Institute will be there with several booths. The Raisin Region Conservation Authority will be there for their annual tree giveaway. Transition Cornwall Plus will be there, and they're also giving away trees. And you can also bring your plastic pots if you've saved them from gardening. I know I keep them mine in the garage, and then I give them away in the spring. So you can bring those to Transition Cornwall Plus for their projects, and they'll reuse them. We have a tree nut expert. You can learn about which tree nuts are edible and even try them out. Cornwall Transit will be there with one of the hybrid buses and the bike rack. Again, this year we can bring electronic waste to be recycled, as well as pens, batteries, eyeglasses. You can even bring your Give a Shirt donations there as well. So same as last year, there will be a table in front of the hybrid bus, and you can bring those items and we'll dispose of them properly. We will have a booth about our newly approved climate action plan. There'll be one about organics. We have our rain barrel sale pickup. You can pick up your No Mow May signs. There'll be a free mulch and compost pickup courtesy of our parks and landscaping department. There'll be a free bike safety checkup booth, so you can bring your bicycle there. And the first, I think it's about 40 or 50 people to bring their bike to get a free safety check will receive either a bike bell or a light for the front of their bike or the back of their bike.
Mhm.
So we encourage people to bring their bikes. There'll be free transit to and from the park from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So the event is from 10 to 2. So that gives you lots of time to be at the park and to use free transit. We want to encourage active transportation. I hope I'm not missing anything. There's other organizations. Warm Up Cornwall will be there. Any yarn that you have and you don't want to put it in landfill, you can bring that to the Warm Up Cornwall booth, and they will knit something and donate it. hope I'm not missing anything important. I probably am, but we have lots of booths there. The Environment and Climate Change Committee. I hope no one's listening right now and saying, "What about me? What about me?"
You
But
feel like you're at the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank this.
I know I should have had my list, bring out my thank you speech.
I
like-
do.
And like the Academy Awards, I'm going to stop you because
There's
I
the
want
music.
to. We're kind of running out of time, but I do want to talk about No Mow, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what
yes.
is No Mow?
So No Mow started in the UK a few years ago. Seems to be controversial. I think it's so odd that something so simple is so controversial, but it's allowing the plants and the grass on your property to grow for the month of May or sooner, depending on the weather. This year it could be sooner, and just to leave it for as long as possible. There are no bylaws for the month of May, so you can keep your grass longer than what the bylaw has, and it's to encourage the first flowering plants to come up and not be disturbed, so the overwintering insects can come and use that for the food that they need when they kind of wake up out of hibernation. And also, it's also good to leave your lawn and not rake it up until like closer to the end of May. Usually, the May long weekend is where people kind of plant everything because there's the wintering insects there that the birds are also kind of picking at and the leaves and stuff and getting their food. So there's lots of beneficial reasons for kind of leaving your lawn go for the early spring. And we really need to encourage biodiversity because biodiversity is kind of what keeps us alive and what keeps everything else alive.
Awesome.
I've got a quick question for you, though. My big concern is ticks. If the grass is getting long, what about ticks? And what about animals walking in the grass and humans? Like, what about the ticks?
Yeah, so no studies show that No Mow doesn't actually increase the tick populations. I mean, however, like the long grass is something where ticks can hide, but ticks are more likely to be in Gaydon Park, somewhere where there's like 100% humidity with the leaf litter. So the only way a tick is going to get from Gaydon Park to your lawn is to attach onto your clothes, attach onto your dog that might have been at Gaydon Park. A lot of urban wildlife are very kind of like squirrels. They'll stay in their little area. Deer will transport them, but I highly doubt deer are going to go from Gaydon Park to your to the backyard here near the library. So if you're at Gaydon Park or Somerstown Trails, you need to check yourself for ticks. You need to look and check your dog because that's most likely where you're going to get the ticks, and that's how they're going to get transported onto your property. If you are backed onto a forest, you can always mow a couple feet wide between the forest and your lawn if you're growing tall grass or letting it naturalize, because then that creates a buffer zone for those ticks because they need to grab onto something. They don't jump or anything, just grab on. So keep a buffer so it won't get on to your property. But the one tick I found on me, it was right after I had gone to Somerstown Trails. Didn't check myself when I was leaving Somerstown Trails, and then when I got home there was a tick on me, and I'm pretty sure it came from there. I'm not saying don't go to these places. They're beautiful places to go hiking. Just check yourself and be prepared.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've had Sheldon's had a couple of ticks on him from our property, so that's why I'm always concerned about them, because those are very horrible things. And one, I pulled it out, half got left in him. I couldn't get it out. They're just horrible. So I'm always worried about ticks. Thanks a lot for talking about all that. And thanks a lot for telling us all about all that information.
Anytime.
Because I can see that you're so passionate about it.
Yes.
I love it. I know it's all I ever really think about. I need to shut my brain off sometime, but on weekends, evenings.
Well,
I'm
I
thinking
mean,
about
it's
my job.
important. It's important.
It
It's so
is.
important. We need to work hard to try to leave a world that's worth living in for our, the next generations. It's super important.
Absolutely.
And I know Jason is listening too, but I'm thinking again, I know you can't make stress go away, but if you
it's
can
good for
get
the mental
out,
health.
get out in the open, in the outdoors, and it's always good for fresh air and mental health, right?
Yep.
Well, sunlight and you can't get rid of stress, but you can garden, and that's almost as
Oh,
good. You
yeah.
know, I find gardening very good for my mental health, and getting out in the sun and just
Yep.
being in contact with the soil.
Yep.
This is probably apocryphal, but some people say that there's antidepressants in the soil. There's some chemicals that actually release neurotransmitters in your brain, and certainly messing around in the mud. I think
Mhm.
more adults need to be doing that, because
Yes,
my kids have
Paint
a
absolutely.
bomb
blast.
workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I love those.
All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you so much. It's already 11, so I want to thank you very much for being with us today and talking about all this interesting stuff. We'll bid you a
Anytime.
good day. And Mylise, have a great week.
And have a super duper day. And remember, Cape is coming on the 22nd and 23rd, as well as is Ed the Sock and Dana Lair at the Cape After Party.
That's also good for laughing.
Oh
Good
my
for
God.
mental health.
We're going to be there, and I think I'll be laughing at that one.
All right, guys.
Thanks for
that's it
having us.
now. Bye-bye.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
coming. Bye.